Recession. This is the word we have heard frequently these days. Are we moving to recession? We shall discuss about this. Before that, let me brief about recession. What is this? How is this calculated? A recession is a significant and widespread downturn in economic activity that typically lasts for longer than few months. A common rule of thumb is that two consecutive quarters of negative GDP is termed as recessions. Let us take an example. The products produced and services rendered for a quarter is around 1000 crores, and for the next quarter it is 900 crores, and for the subsequent quarter it is 800 crores. Do you see the decrease in growth? This is termed as recessions. From 1000 to 900, 900 to 800 crores. There is a decrease. Yet to conclude recession, multiple factors are to be seen. An inverted yield curve, an elevated inflation rate, consumer confidence index, real income growth, manufacturing indices, retail sales data. We shall see these in detail. An inverted yield curve. What is this? An inverted yield curve is a financial phenomena where the yield interest on short-term debt instruments like treasury bills are higher than the long-term debt instruments like treasury bonds. That means short-term interest rate is higher when compared to long-term interest rates. Next thing is manufacturing index. This is also known as purchasing manager index PMI, a monthly indicator that gauges the economic health of the manufacturing sector. Based on the survey of purchasing managers covering new orders, output, employment, supply deliveries, inventories, this is measured. Next, we will move on to consumer confidence index. This is also to be seen to understand the recession in full. What is this consumer confidence index? This gauges consumer sentiment, which is crucial as consumer spending drives a significant portion of economic activity. What are the components involved? Typically, it includes the assessment of current economic condition, expectations for the future economy, personal financial situation, employment prospects. The thing is that other main component is to be seen is that economic cycle. The economic is also known as business cycle, is characterized by alternating periods of expansion and contraction, that is fluctuation in economic activity. And awareness of the characteristics of each stage of economic cycle is critical because it serves as a starting point for top-down financial analysis. The real gross domestic product and unemployment rate are the two most important economic indicators related to economic cycle. Generally, it is divided into four stages: expansion, business peak, recession, and through. This cycle is common. Do the world have seen recession earlier? Certainly yes. 1980 recession, 1990 recession, dot-com recession, Great Recession, and recent COVID-19 recession. Now, we can move to current situation. Let us start with Liberation Day, continued by Bharat.
What is Liberation Day? Today, we are talking about a different kind of Liberation Day. One, President Donald Trump has framed as America's economic liberation from unfair trade practices. But what does that mean? Liberation means breaking free. President Trump's version of Liberation Day is about freeing the US from high import tariffs imposed by other nations. His strategy: fight fire with fire. If other countries charge the US high tariffs, America will strike back harder. This move has sent shockwaves through global markets. Let's break it down. The global tariff landscape. Who pays the most? All tariffs are not created equal. This map shows which countries face the highest US import taxes. The darker the color, the heavier the burden. China, Cambodia, and Bangladesh are in the red zone, facing some of the steepest tariffs. India sits in the middle range at 26%, but that could change. Meanwhile, allies like Japan and Korea enjoy lower rates for now. Why does this matter? Because tariffs dictate what you pay for goods, which industries thrive, and ultimately which economies win or lose. Market meltdown, the domino effect. When the US flexes its trade muscles, the world trembles. Here's the damage so far. UK's FTSE index plunged 1000 points from 8000 points. Germany, Japan, and even US markets took major hits. Why? Because trade wars create uncertainty and markets hate uncertainty. Post US tariffs, there exist two paths: negotiate or retaliate. The ones who negotiate are the deal makers. Almost 70 plus countries are ready to negotiate, including Japan, who can't afford a trade war, so they're negotiating. Vietnam tried once, got rejected, but is still at the table. South Korea, Mr. Trump called their PM, signaling a possible deal. For these nations, compromise is better than economic chaos. And the ones who retaliate are the fighters. For China, US tariff is 145%, so it retaliated with 125% tariffs. But since the US imports so much from China, American consumers could pay the price. European Union launched a two-phase counterback, targeting bourbon, motorcycles and more. Canada hit back with 25% tariffs on US cars and steel. This isn't just economics, it's geopolitical chess, and every move has consequences. Trump's pause in the trade war. Just when tensions peaked, Trump hit the brakes. 90-day tariff freeze for most countries except for China. China's tariff jumped to 84%. Trump retaliated by raising theirs to 125% immediately. Why pause? Maybe to ease market panic or to force last-minute deals. Is this the calm before the storm or the start of a new negotiation phase? Closing thought. Trade wars aren't won in a day. Some countries will bend, others will fight back. And in the end, everyone pays the price. The question is, who can afford it? The explanation on how India is affected by the US recession will be explained by Preeti.
Okay guys, let me talk about how recession in the United States have rippled across the world and specifically how they have affected India and its key sectors. Historically, the US economy has had a major influence on global markets and India is no exception. When the US sneezes, the world tends to catch the cold and India definitely feels it too. So this image shows a sector-wise industrial distribution map of India, which is southern states like Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are highly diversified, covering electronics, EVs, textiles, and autos. Western states like Gujarat and Maharashtra have strong industrial bases for pharma, steel, and solar energy. Northern India, which is UP, Haryana, Delhi, shows dominance in mobile, LED, and auto components. Eastern and Central India, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh mainly support raw material and heavy industries like steel and solar. So now let's talk about how we are going to impact from this. First is manufacturing strain and tech import, which is heavy dependency on China for semiconductors, batteries, and display panels. The US also seeks to decouple from China in tech supply chains. This creates a shared vulnerability. Both nations need alternatives to China. The opportunity for India is India can align with the US firms looking to relocate manufacturing. This may bring joint investments in chip fabrication, EV tech, and clean energy infrastructure. So, now coming to pharma sector risk, 70% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients come from China, which is costlier drugs but shortages. Huge portion of US generic drugs come from India. If API supply to India is it can trigger drug shortages and price hikes in the US healthcare system. US and India may collaborate to create resilient pharma supply chains by co-investing in API manufacturing hubs in India or friendly countries. Investment trends shifting focus to defensive sectors. Investment behavior. In response to global market volatility, investors are turning towards defensive sectors. India's pursuit of high-powered laser weapons underscores its dedication to enhancing national security through technological innovation and self-reliance, while also contributing to its economic and strategic objectives. Recently, US media has been abuzz with talk of a potential economic downturn. The implementation of sweeping tariffs and reciprocal trade measures under President Donald Trump. These moves, while intended to protect American industries, have led other nations to respond with retaliatory tariffs, sparking fears of a global slowdown. Goldman Sachs has assessed the short-term risk of US recession at just 38%, less than half. They remind us that recession are a natural part of boom-bust economic cycle, unavoidable in the long run but not necessarily around the corner. So yes, The US may enter a recession if inflation, interest rates, or global shocks tip the balance, but it may not, thanks to strong employment, cautious policy making, and economic adaptability. So, yes, we have to wait at least 2 quarters to know whether there is a recession or not. Thank you.